Air travel is one of the fastest and most convenient ways to travel. Every day, thousands of airplanes take off and land safely. People fly for business, vacations, and to visit family and friends. Compared to other types of transportation, flying is considered very safe. However, when a plane crash happens, it can be a great tragedy. In recent years, there have been several major plane crashes around the world. These accidents have caused many deaths and have affected families, communities, and even entire countries. Some crashes remain a mystery, while others are caused by technical failures, bad weather, or human error. This article will look at some of the most serious plane crashes in the past 10 years. It will also explore how these accidents impact families, society, and the aviation industry. By understanding these events, we can learn important lessons about safety and life. Airplane crashes are rare, but when they happen, they cause great loss and sadness. Over the past 10 years, there have been several serious plane accidents that shocked the world. Below are some of the most significant crashes, along with details about their causes and impact. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, 2014. Date: March 8, 2014. Location: disappeared over the Indian Ocean. Cause: unknown, still a mystery. Number of victims: 239 people, passengers and crew. One of the greatest mysteries in aviation history is the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. The flight took off from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and was headed to Beijing, China. However, after about an hour, the plane lost contact with air traffic control. It suddenly changed direction and flew toward the Indian Ocean. Despite years of searching, most of the aircraft has never been found. Families of the passengers are still waiting for answers. Germanwings, Flight 9525, 2015. Date: March 24, 2015. Location: French Alps. Cause: deliberate crash by the co-pilot. Number of victims: 150 people. This was a shocking accident because it was not caused by technical failure or weather, but by a person. The co-pilot, who was suffering from mental health issues, locked the captain out of the cockpit and crashed the plane into the mountains. Investigations later showed that he had hidden his illness from his employers. This tragedy raised many questions about mental health in the aviation industry. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, 2019. Date: March 10, 2019. Location: near Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Cause: software failure in the Boeing 737 MAX. Number of victims: 157 people. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crashed just 6 minutes after takeoff. This was the second deadly crash involving the Boeing 737 MAX in just 5 months, following the Lion Air Flight 610 crash in Indonesia, October 2018. Investigations found that a faulty automatic system forced the plane's nose down, making it uncontrollable. After this tragedy, the Boeing 737 MAX was grounded worldwide for almost 2 years to improve its safety. Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752, 2020. Date: January 8, 2020. Location: near Tehran, Iran. Cause: shot down by a missile. Number of victims: 176 people. This crash was not an accident, but a terrible mistake. The plane was shot down by the Iranian military shortly after taking off from Tehran. At first, Iran denied responsibility, but later, they admitted that the plane was hit by mistake during a period of high political tension. The victims included people from several countries, and their families continue to seek justice. China Eastern Airlines Flight MU5735, 2022. Date: March 21, 2022. Location: Guangxi, China. Cause: unknown, suspected deliberate crash. Number of victims: 132 people. This flight was traveling from Kunming to Guangzhou when it suddenly nosedived from the sky, crashing into a mountainous area. The speed and angle of the fall were extremely unusual. Investigators have not found clear mechanical problems, leading some experts to believe it might have been an intentional act. The crash shocked many because China's aviation safety record was very strong before this tragedy. These plane crashes have left deep scars on the world. Some, like MH370, remain mysteries. Others, like Flight 9525 and MU5735, raise questions about mental health in aviation. Some, like Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, have changed airplane designs and safety measures. Every plane crash teaches us something new and reminds us of the importance of improving air travel safety. When a plane crashes, it does not only take lives, it also leaves behind families who must face unimaginable grief. The loss of a loved one in such a sudden and tragic way is deeply painful. Families are left with many unanswered questions, and the emotional scars can last a lifetime. For families, the news of a plane crash is shocking and devastating. One moment, their loved ones are on their way to a destination full of plans and dreams. The next moment, they are gone forever. Many relatives wait anxiously for news, hoping their loved one might have survived. But when the airline confirms the worst, their world falls apart. Some families struggle with the fact that they never get to say goodbye. In cases like Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, where the wreckage was never fully recovered, families are left without closure. Without a body to bury, many feel that their loved one is still missing, not truly gone. This uncertainty makes it even harder to heal. Grief affects people in different ways. Some cry for weeks, unable to accept the loss. Others become silent, keeping their pain inside. Many suffer from depression, anxiety, and even physical illnesses due to stress. Sleep becomes difficult, and everyday tasks feel meaningless. Parents who lose children feel an unbearable emptiness. Children who lose parents grow up with sadness and unanswered questions. Husbands and wives who lose their partners must rebuild their lives alone. The emotional pain can last for years, and some people never fully recover. To cope, families turn to different sources of support. Support groups. Talking to others who have experienced the same loss can help. Some groups, like the families of MH370 victims, continue to meet and support each other years after the tragedy. Therapy and counseling. Speaking with professionals can help people process their grief and find ways to move forward. Memorials and remembrance. Many families create memorials, plant trees, or start charities in honor of their lost loved ones. This helps keep their memory alive. Li Wei's daughter Mei was a 27-year-old woman flying home to Beijing. She had called her mother before boarding, saying, "I'll see you soon," but she never arrived. For years, Li Wei waited for news, hoping that Mei might still be alive somewhere. Every time the search teams announced new findings, her heart broke again. Even now, she keeps Mei's room exactly as it was, believing that one day she might return. Paul Nyoroge from Canada lost his wife, 3 children, and mother-in-law in the Ethiopian Airlines crash in 2019. One moment he was a happy husband and father. The next, he was alone. His story touched people around the world as he spoke about his deep pain. He now fights for better airline safety so that no other family has to suffer as he did. In 2015, a businessman named Mark was on Germanwings Flight 9525. His wife and their 6-year-old son Jake were waiting for him at the airport. When they learned that the plane had crashed, their lives changed forever. Now, Jake is a teenager, but he often asks his mother about his father. He wonders what life would be like if his dad were still alive. The emotional pain caused by plane crashes is deep and lasting. Families lose not just loved ones, but also dreams, futures, and happiness. Some struggle to move on, while others find strength in keeping their loved one's memory alive. These tragedies remind us to cherish every moment with the people we love because life is fragile and unpredictable. When a plane crash happens, it does not only affect the families of the victims, it also impacts society as a whole. People begin to question the safety of air travel, and some even develop a fear of flying. Airlines and governments must take action to reassure passengers, and the media plays a major role in shaping public opinion. After a major plane crash, many people become afraid to fly. Even those who have flown for years without fear may suddenly feel nervous. Some people cancel trips, while others choose alternative ways to travel, such as trains or cars, even if the journey is longer. For example, after the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, many passengers avoided flying with Malaysia Airlines, fearing another tragedy. Similarly, when the Boeing 737 MAX was involved in 2 fatal crashes within 5 months, Lion Air Flight 610 in 2018 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 in 2019, passengers were afraid to board this type of aircraft. As a result, airlines were forced to ground all Boeing 737 MAX planes until safety improvements were made. However, over time, fear often fades. As safety measures improve and crashes become less frequent, most people eventually feel comfortable flying again. Every plane crash teaches important lessons, and aviation authorities work hard to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future. Some key safety improvements in recent years include stronger pilot training. After the Germanwings Flight 9525 crash, where a co-pilot deliberately crashed the plane, airlines introduced stricter mental health checks for pilots. Many countries now require 2 crew members to be in the cockpit at all times to prevent such incidents. Improved aircraft design and technology. The crashes of Lion Air Flight 610 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 revealed problems with Boeing's automatic flight control system. As a result, Boeing redesigned the system, and all 737 MAX planes were updated before they were allowed to fly again. Better air traffic communication. After MH370 disappeared without a trace, experts pushed for better real-time tracking of airplanes. Many airlines have now adopted satellite tracking systems to prevent another aircraft from vanishing. Increased security measures. After the tragic downing of Ukraine, International Airlines Flight 752, airlines and governments improved policies to avoid flying over conflict zones. This helps protect passengers from accidents caused by military actions. The way the media reports on plane crashes has a strong effect on how people feel about flying. When a crash happens, news channels and social media provide 24-hour coverage, showing images of wreckage, grieving families, and investigations. This intense coverage can make flying seem more dangerous than it actually is. In reality, statistics show that air travel is still the safest mode of transportation. More people die in car accidents every day than in airplane crashes, but car accidents are not reported in the same dramatic way. However, because plane crashes are rare and usually involve many deaths at once, they receive much more media attention. Sometimes, misinformation spreads quickly. After MH370 disappeared, many false theories appeared online, from hijacking rumors to alien abduction stories. These theories caused confusion and pain for the victims' families. Responsible media coverage is important to ensure people receive accurate information. When a plane crashes, survival is rare. However, there have been a few extraordinary cases where people have lived through the disaster. These survivors often describe their experiences as both terrifying and life-changing. In some crashes, brave passengers and crew members risk their lives to help others, showing incredible strength and humanity. Although this crash happened more than 30 years ago, Cecilia Seitchen remains one of the most well-known plane crash survivors. She was just 4 years old when Northwest Airlines Flight 255 crashed shortly after takeoff, killing 154 people on board. She was the only person to survive. Her survival was considered a miracle. Today, she speaks publicly about her journey of healing and resilience. In 2010, Afrikia Airways Flight 771 crashed in Libya, killing 103 people. The only survivor was a 9-year-old Dutch boy named Ruben van Asso. He was found still strapped in his seat, badly injured but alive. His survival gave hope to many, even in the middle of such a tragedy. Julianne Kupka was 17 when her plane broke apart in mid-air over the Amazon rainforest. She fell 3,000 meters, 10,000 feet, but miraculously survived. Alone in the jungle, she walked for 11 days before being rescued. Her incredible survival story has inspired many. In many crashes, some people do not just think about themselves, They try to save others. The crew of U.S. Airways Flight 1549, The Miracle on the Hudson, 2009. Although this flight was not a disaster, it was a near-tragic event. Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger safely landed the plane on the Hudson River after a bird strike disabled both engines. Thanks to his quick thinking and the teamwork of the crew, all 155 passengers survived. Flight attendants on British Airways, Flight 5390, 1990. When the cockpit window of British Airways Flight 5390 shattered mid-flight, the captain was partially sucked out of the plane. However, the flight attendants held onto his legs for over 20 minutes while the co-pilot made an emergency landing. Their bravery saved his life and the lives of everyone on board. For those who survive, life is never the same. Many suffer from trauma and fear of flying. Some survivors dedicate their lives to aviation safety, helping prevent future tragedies. Others share their stories to give hope to those who have lost loved ones. Survivors often say that they see life differently after such an experience. They appreciate small moments, spend more time with loved ones, and try to live without fear. Every plane crash teaches important lessons. Thanks to investigations and improvements in technology, air travel continues to become safer. New technology helps prevent accidents before they happen. Better aircraft design, stronger materials, and better engineering reduce mechanical failures. Real-time tracking. After MH370's disappearance, new satellite systems allow planes to be tracked anywhere in the world. Improved automatic systems. Software updates prevent pilots from losing control of the aircraft. Stricter pilot mental health checks. Airlines now monitor pilots' mental well-being more closely. Better maintenance procedures. Airlines must follow strict rules to check and repair planes regularly. Passenger safety training. Airlines encourage passengers to pay attention to safety instructions before takeoff. Governments create and enforce safety regulations. Airlines invest in technology, training, and safety procedures. Passengers should follow safety rules, stay calm in emergencies, and report suspicious behavior. Plane crashes are rare, but when they happen, they remind us of the fragility of life. These tragedies cause great pain to families, affect society, and lead to important changes in aviation safety. While we cannot prevent every accident, each crash teaches us valuable lessons. Air travel is now safer than ever, thanks to technological advancements and stricter regulations. Most importantly, these events remind us to appreciate every moment with our loved ones. Life is unpredictable, and we never know what tomorrow may bring. By learning from the past, we can build a safer future for everyone who takes to the skies.